Donald Trump, he's teased at returning. He's going to make a decision after the midterms. Is he going to go ahead with this, do you think, or is he foxing?
Good morning, Pete. No, he's going to go ahead. Look, everybody in Washington, all the insiders, including the senator from South Carolina, and everybody says he's going to run. Hillary Clinton says he's going to run. The Wall Street Journal says he's going to run, and so does the New York Times. So, look, he wasn't a reality TV host for 12 years for nothing. He knows how to tease out a moment forever, and yeah, he'll run unless he gets indicted somewhere or he falls to health or something like that. And he's going to do pretty well. He's going to win a lot of seats in the House in November, probably 37 to 45. And he'll probably have a Senate that will be returned with him. So everything is in his favor right now. And, on Thursday, Pete, is the first year of the Biden administration. It celebrates its first year. And at the end of 1 year, President Biden is hanging by a thread. He's having a problem with inflation. He's having a problem with all of his opinion polls. They all say he's going in the wrong direction. Everyone's worried about the economy and inflation, which is now a 40-year high, which, of course, is not surprising after you pump the money into the system. He's looking at a looming war in Ukraine, which I think is coming, despite his last-minute efforts to try to do something about it. And so Biden is in a very bad space. In fact, everybody I look at in Washington predicts that he's going to be attacked by people in his own party who are fed up with him. Progressive left, of course, reckons it was not only abandoned, but he double-crossed them. They think they got him in, and he's not doing anything for them.
Talk about back to the future. You mentioned Hillary Clinton before, and there has been reporting suggesting that she might be eyeing off another run if Joe Biden decides not to run, which seems the most likely scenario, and Kamala Harris too, because both of them are just not polling well.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're polling terribly. They're at historic lows. Look, Hillary is ready to re-seize her moment. I saw her in one interview saying that she'd like to do it. And of course, the Wall Street Journal editorial, or not the editorial, but the op-ed piece there, sent up a kite. And she'd have a big following because she's got something to prove. Of course, she's suffering from the neurosis all people do when they lose the presidency. They keep coming back at it as much as they can.
That relevance deprivation syndrome, it's alive and well there, it would seem. Joe, we're running out of time, but I do want to ask you about Russia before we go, because it's preparing what claims to be a false flag operation to create a pretext for a broader invasion of Ukraine. Do you see this going ahead?
Oh, yeah. Look, I don't know if the false flag thing, that was conjured up by American intelligence, which hasn't really been very intelligent the last 10 years. They always say that. But there's kind of a magical thinking in Washington, Pete, that this is all Putin's problem. Putin's problem, of course, is that weaponization of NATO into Georgia, putting rockets there, strategic rockets there that are 7 to 10 minutes away, 5 minutes with a hypersonic rocket. He's more worried about his survival. And, we've got to have to develop a little bit of empathy here. After a week of diplomacy in Europe, absolutely nothing was settled. And we have now reached what we call the or else. The Russians have made it very clear that unless the Americans swear off NATO in that part of the world and swear off offensive weapon systems close to the Russian border, that we've now reached the or else stage. And the or else stage could be very, very clever. I mean, it could be Putin installing ICBMs someplace in the Western Hemisphere, which, of course, brought on the Cuban Missile Crisis. He could do ransomware or malware to the American economy if he wants to. And I think the scariest thing about all this is in a couple days, Putin's going to the Olympics in China. And shortly after the Olympics, he's going to have a major meeting with the Chinese leadership. So now we're driving Putin further and further into the arms of President Xi, and so they can plot the next move. So I don't think we've been very clever in terms of diplomacy or anything else. But look, as we look at America in 2022, we're looking at very bad situation. And Pete, there is a reason why the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists atomic clock is 100 seconds to midnight, because there are all kinds of things that can tip the world into a conflict. And if we come to Ukraine, it'll be a limited, short war, destroying the infrastructure of Ukraine. No one's going to do a damn thing about it in Europe. Then they'll put the heat on Putin, who's not too worried about it. And so we got ourselves in this pickle here. We don't know how to get out of it. We need some creative thinking, but this alarmism throughout the world, of course, is not doing us any good. So it's, I mean, that's why we love sports, isn't it? So we can take our mind off of these things for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And so, but when we, when the game is over, or the final, the ashes are in, then we got to worry about the real world. Real world is always scary as hell, Pete.
Yep, sure is. We will watch that one very closely as always, Joe. Good to see you. We'll talk to you again next week.